Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I will quickly try and get the second one up. I need to copy and paste the link, because obviously this will be saved as a separate video. So I also don't know how many people are actually watching right now. Nobody. Cool. Okay, so we're now going to do the attack of
Initiating.
what's it called? Okay, so just a quick reminder, this you have done the defense. You did a pretty decent job on defense, but there was a few times where you probably made the wrong decision rotating and doing stuff like that. So you're sometimes just better off just staying high ground for the most part. You gave up high ground a lot more often when you shouldn't have. One thing I will say is this last fight is well done, with a pull from Mini especially getting those 2 kills, but yeah, I think the difference with this last fight is you actually set up properly, so you actually played high ground ready when they came in, so they didn't have a choice to actually press you off. They didn't have the time. So yeah, we'll go into the attack now, see what you ran on attack, because I actually have no idea what composition you ran, and then yeah, I'm not going to give you too much content today, because this has been a long VOD review. It's been split into 2. That's how long this one has been. So I've managed to pick out as much as I could. But yeah, I'm going to keep trying to pick more and more out, and just take my time with this. It's a map that a lot of tier 2 teams struggle with, and so I wouldn't be surprised. No, sorry. This is a map that a lot of tier 2 teams struggle with, and I think it just means that it's a map that you guys need to learn even more, because the better that you guys can play this map, the easier it is to be able to beat teams on this map. If you become confident playing on this map, a lot of tier 2 teams are going to really struggle against you. So yeah, kind of interested to see what you're going to run. I'm assuming you're going to run a dive, because you've got Mini in, you're going to run a monkey dive, and you've got Sarin on the Ana. Brig and Ana being some of my best characters, I'm definitely going to be looking at the backline and trying to give you guys tips. One thing I don't like is that there's 1.8 seconds left to go max on fucking Orisa, and Unflux is still yet to pick a character. You guys should be ready. 5 seconds. You can spend the other 25 seconds fucking around. 5 seconds before you need to be ready. Yeah? Because especially like in a league game, I know this is just a scrim, you might not be taking it as seriously, but in a league game, this is the last thing you want. The last thing you want is to be unprepared. I know you've probably given up at this point. I know this is your 3rd map. I did say that at the start of the last review, at the start of the defense of this map. That this is, yeah, you 3rd map, and that you probably had low morale. But one thing, it's kind of low morale is a mental barrier. It's personal. It's not a team-wide thing. It's one person gets bored and like tired, and then brings down the next person, and brings down the next person, and brings down the next person, and then it just chains. It's a chain reaction, and not letting yourself get brought down by somebody else being usually stops that chain reaction. You can stop that. One person can feel like shit and go, I don't want to play this game, and the other 5 of you can be perfectly happy if one of you is able to go, you know what, no, we can win this. This is a very winnable fight. You've done really well so far. on holding them. You managed to burn a lot of time through all the points. It's unfortunate you couldn't hold them. They just managed to win in overtime fights. That was a good defense from you guys, though. You still played well, even though you've got low morale. So in the attack, I don't want to see you doing like half-assed shit. I wanna see you actually trying a bit. So yeah. Firstly, you should hear that Hanzo sonar. So you should know that there's a Hanzo there. And actually, this is another point to why you should be ready. You're using boosters to get to here. When you get here, you're not going to have boosters to get across. It's a small thing, but it's big. You can't pressure that Hanzo. That Hanzo's going to be able to stand here for free for a good 20 seconds. Plainly because you don't have boosters, Mac. Just because you weren't ready. You weren't feeling it. Not good enough. If you're not feeling it and we got subs, sub yourself out. Or ask to be subbed out. Something like that. Right, so there's 2 things I'm watching. Or 3 things I'm watching. Yeah, Unflux is still in fucking spawn. 3 things I'm watching, yeah? The tanks. Mini and Mac, I want you landing places together. And I want the DPSs landing at a similar time. Usually a little staggered, so that the tanks can make space. But I want you guys coordinating with your landings. It comes to Mini making a call of where he's jumping to. Counting down 3... Okay, I'm jumping high ground. I'm jumping blue box. At this point, this is blue box. Or actually, no, sorry. That's blue box. If somebody calls blue box, this is what blue box is. Every map has its own blue box. This is blue... Every map has its own callouts. Learning the callouts for each map is a long process, but it's a very, very worth process. Because you can call jumping blue box, and everybody knows that this is this. You can say jumping server. This is server. For those who don't know, if the call is server, this is server. If somebody says rotate server, we hold server. This is server. Main is always the main route that you travel. So main would be down here. So you could call Genji main. But if there's not a specific call out for like an area, top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right, work perfectly fine. Top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and main. 5 calls you need to know. 5 positions. And that's just in like comparison to on an escort map, it's generally where the cart is. So if the cart is here, then it's top left really, because the cart is playing this way. So that's top left and that's top right. That's just top. Just high ground. This is I don't really know if there's a call out for this, but this is generally where you'll dive, to be fair. Looking at their composition, you should just have free range over this. But yeah, coming out the gates, a few things. First, you pressure this high ground. I like that. You pressure that Hanzo out. He goes away. Mini's going to drop back down for heals. Mac, I want you on cart. At this point, the only reason that you come back up here is if they peek up here. If they actually come out here, you should come back up here. Unless they go up there, you stand on cart, because you can take a lot more damage, you can take a lot more pressure. The rotation that I want you two to take, and actually, I say you two, but realistically it's you. I want you to think of this, because your job is to go, where's Mayana? I'm following Mayana. You're her bodyguard. You're Claire's bodyguard, and just bodyguard her. Basically just sit on her, sit around her, sit in front of her, protect her. She is your only port of call. If the DPS need healing, you throw them packs. If the tanks need healing, and I mean, if they desperately need healing, like Mini is on free health, you can throw him 1 pack. But don't try not to pack your tanks. Try not to throw armor packs onto your tanks, because they're way more useful on your Genji or your Echo. Especially considering you're running Echo, they're way more useful on your Echo. What I want you to do, this is specifically for you, Claire. when you come out of this gate, I want you to go through this door. And I want to see you go up these stairs. Next time you play Gibraltar, I want you to remember this. I want you to try this rotation, do this rotation. Make sure you think of it. I'm making a big point of this rotation because it's so powerful. I want you to take these stairs because from here you can heal Minnie up and you can take cover. You're safe here. You're fine here. And with Jasper with you, if you do take a bit of poke, he can heal you up with a pack. You shouldn't take poke, but if you do, he can heal you with an armor pack. And if they're running a dive kind of comp, if they've got like a Tracer or a Genji, the Tracer might come up here. But Jasper's got 2 cooldowns that's scary, and then just existing. Brigitte is a really good character for just existing. You don't do anything on her. You just exist in a spot, and that spot becomes a no-go zone for their DPS. Against a dive comp, that is anyway. Against their comp, it's still a no-go zone. They're not going to push onto you if you're a Brigitte, but it gives you that extra bit of protection. Against their comp, you're going to be like sitting in front of Saren and looking for angles where they're going to be poking at her, just shielding, just hard shielding her. And when your shield breaks, just letting her know. Try not to let your shield break fully ever. If you can like bring it down when you're on like 2 health, 2 shield health or 3 shield health, something like really low shield health, 50 shield health if it has to be. Just don't let it break, because if they do then have a flanker, if you've got low shield, you've still got a shield to use shield bash. If you've got no shield, you lose the ability to use shield bash. Which is massive. You don't want to lose that, even if it's on cooldown. Like, having a shield is way better than just not having a shield, in any case, not being able to use shield bash. So yeah, Saren, I want you to take this rotation, come up here, and I mean, all of this you can heal Minnie up. Minnie can play in that room for free, basically. And the rotation that works best is you two can play this room perfectly. The Ana can peek out here, and you can DPS a little if you want. You can heal Minnie from just inside this doorway. I mean, you're going to be like here, but you're still going to be able to see Minnie and heal him up without taking any damage. Maybe a little poke from the turret, but like I said, he's going to have packs for you to heal you up. And your main focus is healing up the tanks, because the packs are also going to the DPS. You can, I do encourage you to go for skill shots onto Abra and Unflux, but they're hard targets to hit, so don't focus on healing them. Like, if you're missing a few shots, just unscope, take a moment, check that the tanks don't need healing, and then go back to try and hit them. Because realistically, it's not your job to heal them, it's Jasper's. And yeah, another thing, if you're stood here, you can heal up Minnie. Minnie can then rotate round and take that high ground. You can stand on this doorway here, you can poke out, you can stand like here, and you can heal Minnie up. If he jumps onto that turret, where that turret is, you can stand here and heal. Or if you're not feeling that confident, stand on the ledge, you can just stand here and still heal him over there. It's just a really powerful position for your Brigitte and Ana, especially because once you win if you lose a fight, you two can stay here for free. You basically just can't get killed. It's so hard for them to kill you on any composition. And if you win a fight, you get this rotation so easily to blue box. You can rotate all the way around here, and you can take either this high ground or that high ground for free before the next fight even takes. You don't have to rotate very far at all. It's such a powerful rotation, and I don't see enough Anas do it. So Claire, I really want you to do this rotation next time you play Gibraltar. On attack on Ana, if you're running a dive comp, go that rotation. Strictly on a dive comp. If you're running an Orisa comp, you can, in fairness, if you're running an Orisa comp, you can all take that rotation, and then you get this high ground. And if you're on a Orisa comp, you're going to push them off this high ground, and you're going to stand here. You're going to stand here, and you've got free range over them. If they rotate back there, you've still got free range over them. This is a really powerful position on this map. Basically, whoever controls this wins the map. or wins the first point, that is, sorry. So, yeah, we'll see how you do with controlling this. This is the part that I'm looking at. But yeah, don't want to see the supports on cart that much. Mac, it is Mac's job to be on cart. Another thing, Claire, on Anna, I know you've got a bit more freedom with Jasper on Brig, but still be hugging that corner and try not to peek out. Because, like, here, I mean, if I go to your point of view, the enemies can all just easily look at you. Whereas you can just as easily stand here and just heal up your team. Realistically, you don't want to be an LOS of the enemy team until your team dies. Yeah, okay. Where the hell is Unflux? Oh, he's gone back to spawn. Okay, Unflux has fully just given up on this map, I can see. Not a good mentality. That's a bad mentality. That's the difference between tier 2 and tier 3. I'm not coaching you because you're bad. I'm coaching you because I want you to be better. You're not bad. None of you are bad, in fairness. But you can all be better. And to be fair, if my coaching can get you to tier 3, then I'll very happily take that. But the big thing for getting to tier 3, if you want to go tier 3, you need to work on your mentalities. Because if you're getting boomed 3 maps in, then you won't make tier 3. 1 map in, you'll get boomed, because it's just a different level of like toxicity, a different level of skill, and just it's so much harsher. So tier 2 is like so much more comfortable for you guys to be playing in. Another thing of why you should position closer is because you can see Mini here. And Mini Mag, if you look in the top left, is on half health. You've not actually fully healed him back, and you're poking out and looking at the enemy team. There's no point looking for an anti-nade if your monkey's not ready to jump. So I'm assuming you might nade this and get a triple, or a double or a triple anti. But it's kind of pointless when Abra's half health with no deflect, which actually I'm going to pick you up on. That is not a good move. Wasting your deflect before an engage. I don't feel like I have to explain the way this composition works to you. But I might just have to. I will watch it play out, but you've poked basically and died because of it. Jasper, this is where I'm going to pick you up, because you are on cart on Brigitte and your Anna is here. What I said about bodyguarding, you want to be hugging Saren, so you want to be playing this corner. You even just not even peeking. You could just be stood in here and looking around, looking to heal up your team. Oh, okay, Unflux hasn't given up, he's just switched to Tracer. Yeah, so Mini's jumped. I can assume that was commed. Because I've played with Mini before, and he doesn't just jump without comming. He does always count down. Sometimes it's a bit quiet, but yeah. Okay, so oops tells me that it wasn't commed. The comms need to be there, Mini. You need to be calling this. Every single dive, every single time you're jumping at an enemy. Oh, Mini was muted. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll take it from this situation then. We'll make it another learning point. Mini's muted, he's not making calls. Next thing is, everybody who's playing to dive with Mini, yeah? You look at Mini. If he doesn't make a call, first time he doesn't make a call, it might catch you out. If he does it again, where he jumps again and doesn't make a call, that's where it's like, okay, you're then getting punished because he's not making a call, but you could take some initiative. It's hard, it's really, really hard to do, but he's not called this time. You can't blame it. It's just the next time he goes to jump, if he's not commed his first jump, look at him. Look at Mini and go, oh, is he preparing to jump? He's full health, he stood around here, what could he be doing? He's preparing to jump. And then everybody who's going to be going in with him can be prepared naturally by themselves. You get yourselves prepared before you're even ready to dive. If Mini dies here, I wouldn't be surprised. He's solo dived 2 players and his team hasn't come with him. In fairness, he was up there long enough for Mac to have probably reacted. But yeah, there's not really the only learning point to come from that is the fact that 2 things actually. Claire is here alone and Jasper's all the way under. This is not brig positioning. I know it might be a hard habit to break. I've played with a lot of Lucio players who then go on to Brigitte, think they know what they're doing, and just play shit. And I've had to shout at them the whole time. Claire, if Jasper does this, shout at him. Yeah? Or don't even let him get down here. Don't even let him. Jasper, you should never play this area. This should never be a place you're playing on brig on this map. Ever. Because your Ana should never be down there. Ever. There's no point an Ana should be down there. And you should always be playing with your Ana, who is over here on this mini. Yeah. So, Claire, please, for the love of God, in the future, if Jasper decides to go off to Fairyland on Brigitte and push cart with Mac or something like that, shout at him. Don't say, Jasper, play with me. Go, Jasper, get here. Jasper, come here. Jasper, where's your Ana? Jasper, come back. Where are you going? Have a go at him. Because 1, it will teach him, and 2, it will make him scared. It will make the rest of the team know that you exist, that you should be a respected player, and making sure the rest of the team knows that you're the scary Ana player. Making yourself the scary Ana player is better than being the quiet Ana player, because people don't respect Anas that don't really talk. If Anas talk, people are like, shit, this Ana knows what they're doing. I should probably listen to them, because Ana is very, very powerful in dive, and even if you don't know what you're doing, just cool. I feel like that's something that should be in a one-on-one. Even if you don't know what you're doing, just act like you know what you're saying. But yeah, don't let Jasper leave you. Shout at him and make sure that you've always got him. But you see, the problem here is this is why this high ground's so powerful. There's Zen, Hanzo, and Baptiste have all got this high ground control, and you're trying to push cart. Cart is useless without this high ground. You can't push further than here when they're stood here. And so this is now, I hope, when Mini comes back, you're going to regroup and you're going to dive this high ground together. Hopefully he's unmuted this time. But okay, yeah, Saren, no. This might be a thing of, you see that they're all down here, but you shouldn't go any further than this corner. You should genuinely play here. Play here. If they go out your LOS, call it. Don't you move to heal them. They have to move to get healed. Like, you're not winning your fight here anyway. There's no point them even being there. Everybody should be backing up now. Yeah? Mac, Abra, Jasper, you should all be back to this corner, resetting and trying to walk high ground, walking up these stairs to take the next fight. So if I keep seeing mistakes like this is like compositional mistakes. You're playing dive like a brawly comp now. This is the way you're playing it, and you're just gonna lose like this. Whereas Mini is out on his own. Mini and Unflux are playing it properly. They're taking the high ground. They're pressuring the high ground. They're doing it properly. You three, all four, sorry. You four are fucking clueless. Yeah. I don't want to be horrible to you, but I have to be. My coaching style isn't, oh, you did well. My coaching style is, you've done shit wrong, fix it. This is wrong. Next time, back up. Slow down, take a breath. Don't play it like Brawl. Take down time. Dive is an in and out kind of composition. You go in, you go out, You don't just like sit around. You don't just sit around and poke and prod and just like do fuck all. And at this point as well, you've got Nano, but you're all low health, and look at this, they're ulting and you're all stuck in this room. It's like you're dead here. This is a fight loss, because you've just put yourself in such a bad position. You've put yourself at a loss before the fight's even started. And also to point out, they're running Zen. They're running Zen Bat, which is an easier comp to dive than what's it called? Then break, if they were running a break. Saren, no. I'm assuming this is an accident, but if it's not, I'm shouting at you. I do like this though, Abra. You've held on to your deflect. You're taking poke, but you just decide to hold on to deflect, which I respect. That's a good play. You want to be holding your deflect for when you're in a fight. You want to be using it as like a get out of jail free card, a stool of some sorts. If you dive onto this Baptiste and the Sigma and Orisa decide to shoot at you, you can then just turn and deflect, and then climb the wall, and you're out. Whereas if you use your deflect when you're back there, you go in and you've got no deflect, and if you take shots, you can't make them stop shooting at you, you can't make them take damage from themselves, you've got no defense other than relying on the rest of your team. You should never rely on your team. You should never put yourself in a position where you rely on your team. You should always have a little something you can do to be able to save yourself or help yourself in a situation where you would need help from your team if not. The DM, I don't know how much DM you've got. Oh, yeah, perfect. That's a good DM. That's a fine DM. You're just trying to destroy turret. And actually I like that Abra's destroying the turret as well, because you're basically the only person on the team who can do it. So yeah, we'll keep going. They've made the mistake here where they've not retaken high ground, and so they've given you all of this space for free. So the targets you want to be looking at are their support line for this next fight. And target focus is a big thing as well, because I realised in Ilios on the first point on Well earlier today in the scrim, sorry, on Ilios in the scrim, you did really well at the start of the fight. You took out the Reinhardt, then you managed to take out the Cassidy, then you fell apart. You were all shooting different people, and so they managed to bring it back, pry you apart and pull you out. They managed to pull you open and blow you up from the inside out. That's what will lose you fights. You need to have that target focused. You need to have the calls. Mini, in dive, it's on Mini to make the target call. It's on all of you to reciprocate that call. Call the target with him. Call the target, repeat the target over and over until they're dead. Once they're dead, if you either you keep going, or you stop and you lose, or you've lost the fight. But keep calling targets, especially because if you're not very good at calling targets, the only way you're going to get good at calling targets is by calling targets and learning. Oh shit, that's not a good target to call. So in this situation, they're running Bap Zen. The good targets to go for are Baptiste and Zen. In this situation currently, their Baptiste is here, their Zen and Cassidy can't help him. This is the best target. So rotating to blue box here, where Mini is, getting Claire and Jasper both stood on this high ground here, ready to take this fight. It's so easy just to get a nade down here and anti both their tanks once you, or even if you're going to dive the Baptiste, actually, you get here, it's a small jump to this high ground to kill this Baptiste. He definitely dies if you dive him from that blue box, especially considering Unflux is here. But if you want to guarantee it, you can throw a nade and kill him, or you can hold your nade and nade the two tanks for the cleanup. And also, when you're cleaning up the tanks, go for Sigma first, then Orisa. Sigma's a much more scary tank than Orisa, because Sigma has his hard stun, and his damage mitigation is much more powerful than Orisa's. His kinetic grasp is much more powerful than a shield and fortify. But yeah, I am milking this as well. I did say before I'm milking it. But this is the problem, Claire. I'm assuming you fell. In this situation, if you fall off the high ground, reset, Claire, because this is going to be a harder fight for you and for Mini, because Mini's going to have to play a specific line of sight now, whereas if you were up here, he could play anywhere here. Because you're here, he has to play in this line of sight. It closes off that line of sight slightly. Okay. So, if you do fall off high ground, cool it and make sure everybody resets. Everybody reset once Claire falls off the high ground. Or if Jasper falls off the high ground. If somebody falls off the high ground, has to use a cooldown to get back up, wait for the cooldown, stuff like that. Be ready. Don't force yourself into a fight, because this is setting yourself up for failure. If that Torb and Cassidy turned around, you're dead. All they have to do is turn around and look at you. All they have to do is stand here and look at you. Yeah? Realistically, they should play this corner still. That all four of these people should be playing this corner. But they're not. It's a good nano. Good nano coming out. Confirms the kill onto the Baptiste. Why you're DMing Saren, I have no idea. Who's your next target? Yeah, well, I don't know why you're DMing Saren. Who's your next target? So, I hope the anti was called. That's another thing, Claire. If you hit an anti onto a player, call it. Cool. Torbjorn antied, half health. Mac, you should kill this Torb. Mini, I mean, you're nano tickling them, so I'm not assuming. I'm not going to assume you know that Torb's there. Can I quickly point out, Mini has dove onto the Baptiste. Mini and Mac have got the kill onto the Baptiste. Meanwhile, Abra is here, and Unflux is, Unflux is over here. Unflux is doing a good job, actually. Unflux is distracting their Zen. He's being scary. But, Abra, what are you doing up here? When the dive came through on the Baptiste here, you should have dashed over. You should have been here with Mini. And then the same with, like, Mini's dropped down. You should drop down with him. And just played round here. And it even makes it easier killing this Torb. This Torb should die next. And they shouldn't win this fight, realistically. Because I'm hoping Mini should kill this Bongo with his... yeah. Okay, the Torb has died. Mini's gone in. Mini, this jump is a commitment. It's an overcommitment. You've not got Bubble, and they're running Cassidy. You're gonna die here. You're already dead. But when you've used Bubble, you know this. I know you know this. You've used this. Used your Bubble. Got pulled. You've killed Bongo. Don't jump. Tickle that Bongo out. Do not jump that. That has just probably lost your team the fight. To be fair, Jasper, you shouldn't be here. You should be over here at least. At most, you should be over here. Or hugging this corner. You should never be in the face of their tanks. That you're dead as well. He doesn't have Primal. Oh, he's trying to build Primal, I see. I didn't see that. I still don't think the jump is worth it. I still think disengaging to this corner at least saves your life. And then you can Primal. You can still Primal, you just don't have to full commit. I think it's just you get flashed and then you get burnt right before you get Primal. That's a thing of that's another reason why the jump isn't very good. So yeah, okay, you're looking for Primal. That's fine. I take it back. The jump is still not good though. They've got the Cassidy, who's still got flash. Where is Unflux? Unflux is in the back line trying to kill Cassidy now because he's forced out Transcendence. Unflux just forced out Trance. That's why they've tranced. Because the Zen was going to die to Unflux. I think. Never mind, no, he just used it anyway. He didn't need to use it then. Yeah, you on Monkey, you need to track that cooldown. You need to track that that flash cooldown. And knowing they're on a Cassidy, they have been on it for a whole fight now. You should have been scared to jump in here. You should have realised. I can say should have. Okay, in the future, track that cooldown because that's what's going to get you killed. And when you jump, you're going to get flashed, and then you do die. If you jumped here, he has to walk around the corner to flash you to kill you. By that time, you've got Primal. It's just a small thing of you're just feeding into their team to try and get Primal when you're too far off of it still. Unfortunately. Yeah, Unflux just doesn't cap. Fine, believe me or not. Believe me or don't believe me. It's up to you whether you improve or not. I mean, I've seen you many times do this and it's gone off. The only difference between this and other times is the fact that, one, you don't have DM from Mac because Mac's used his boosters to get to the Baptiste and then killed the Torbjorn. That should have been the target, that should have died anyway. Whether Mac has boosters now or not, no, he doesn't, because he's probably just used them to kill the Torbjorn. But you shouldn't kind of expect DM. Another thing of don't make yourself reliant on your teammates. I know Monkey is a character that is very reliant on his teammates, but you can play him. You know you can play Monkey without relying on your teammates. You know you can give yourself that extra fighting chance. In which you don't need your teammates to rely to be able to win that fight. To be able to stay alive here, you need DM. If you jump here, you don't need DM and you get Primal anyway. And if you get flashed here, you probably still die, but it's harder. If you do get flashed here, but he has to commit roll and flash to stand here to be able to flash you when you're stood here. And you can farm your Primal still off of that Orisa, even though she is fortified with armor, which just means you do fuck all damage to her. But yeah, also going over here to another player, don't push cart on Ana, especially when the fight's there. You're better off just standing here and hard scoping. You can LOS that turret, you can hard scope them. Oops. You can stand here and see basically the whole fight from this point. You can basically see the whole fight from here. So just take this back of cart position and then rotate to server and call that you're in server. Call your Ana's in server, even if it's mid-fight, because if people are actually listening to comms, they'll hear that you're in server. They use Transcendence mini-falls. You can still win this fight, just depends on your target focus. The problem here is what is this fucking Zen doing? This is why, Jasper, you need to be playing with Saren, and also Saren, you're safer here, because that Zen's not coming all the way out here with Trance. He probably wouldn't have got that kill here. But also, if Jasper is playing around here, or even just playing back of cart and trying to and watching you, that Zen's not going to challenge Saren. The Zen's going to challenge Jasper, and then Jasper's you can take a 1v1 with a Zen better than Saren can, better than Claire can. You pop the rally, but there's no target focus. This Cassidy is half health. Okay, I say that I take it back. There is target focus. You've killed the Orisa. Now it should be the Cassidy. He dies. Who next? Who's the next character? The Zen. He's fluxing, but the Zen needs to die. The Zen is half health, and you just let him stay alive, and he's just killed 3 more. He's killed so many more of you. He dies here, right? Okay, finally. but Mac wasn't shooting him. This is where it's now come to discourse. You guys have just thrown shit in and got fuck all out and gone, oh shit, Mini's come back in and popped Primal. You've commit bomb, nano, rally and Primal into this fight, and you're no closer than you were you're no closer to winning this fight than when you popped use nano, or use the bomb. Sorry, nano was actually really good. The nano was a good commitment, but after the nano, everything's just gone to shit. You've used the bomb panic. In a scrappy fight, bomb is just way more useful to be used for the remake. I do say this frequently, which I don't actually know if you did, but you've used the bomb, not really found much with it. Used rally as well, which really didn't find much because you just were target. I mean, sorry. You target focused really well, killing the Orisa, then the Kree. You did really, really well. Or Cassidy, sorry. Did really well at focusing them. The problem is you then tried to focus a Sigma who was full health over a Zenyatta who was half health. Zenyatta is an easy pick there, and he stayed alive for way too long. And then the Sigma after that is still an easy. At this point, the Sigma is an easy pick. You probably don't win this fight. Their Baptiste has come back, but Mini is trying to kill their Bap. Mini might even make this fight winnable. There's the pulse bomb. Okay, yeah, you've won this fight, but you've commit 6 ults to it. You probably didn't need the blade. And also Jasper, there's no point. It wasn't an overtime fight. It wasn't an overtime fight. Don't switch to Lucio. Stay on Brig. It's better for that extra 15% ult charge you would have had. Okay, so one thing I'm also going to point out now is you can press the button in the big button in the middle of your controller. You can press that, and it will give you what their team is running. After you win a fight, usually after you win a point, actually, the enemy team will start. The enemy team will change their comp 1 or 2 player characters. They've now changed to a Reaper. So, what I'd say is, just remember to be looking at their team comp at all times. I'm pretty sure you'd be aware that they're on Reaper now, especially considering Unflux has just been killed by the Reaper. I don't know how Unflux has been killed by the Reaper. So we will find out. As a team, we will find out and shame Unflux on getting killed by a Reaper when he didn't need to. This is a good engagement. Unlucky on Abra, but you've found the kill onto the Zen, you found a trade. That's a 1-for-1. You've actually got more value out of that because their Zen had 83% towards Trance, and he's a healer. You've got way more value out of that trade. There's no reason to hunt for more until you're ready, because I'm pretty sure Unflux is gonna... Yeah, so this is where you've gotten greedy Unflux, trying to kill this Baptiste, and you get punished for it. And realistically, you could have killed the Baptiste, but it was where you then went further in to get the kill. If you didn't kill him here, you should have just recalled and got out. Because now your team are down both DPS. Another thing, Mac, I want you on cart here, because Saren and Jasper, you need to be setting up high ground. You need to be going up this stairwell and playing in here, playing up here. This is a hard point to play because you can realistically you can play here, but it's really, really far away, and if the fight happens the other side of spaceship, it's hard to play it. You can just as easily what? So yeah, you can play this high ground, but the line of sight there is not great. I don't know if you know it or not, but there is a little box jump you can do, which Mac has already started doing. You can jump onto this box, onto that little box, onto that little box, then onto that box, and from here you can jump onto the spaceship. If Anna and Brig can set up here, that's perfect. And then in this composition, I'd like to see Unflux pushing cart. Actually, I say that. I take it back. Mac, you play high ground. Unflux on Tracer should be pushing cart here, because it's easier for him to get onto high ground. You've got the Zen pick, get out, reset. Unflux push cart, support set up high ground. And yeah, Abra, you also went too far in with the Genji, but I don't like the switch onto the Cassidy. You don't need the extra defense. They're not running a dive, and they're not running they're not running anything that's like strictly scary for your Brig or Ana, because the only person who's realistically going to threaten your Brig and Ana is the Reaper. And on Brig and Ana, they should be able to deal with a Reaper with all of the cooldowns they've got. Comparatively. You land an anti on the Reaper, he can't do anything. You land a sleep on the Reaper, he's probably going to rave foul. You land a bash and a whip shot onto the Reaper, he's probably going to be scared. A single shot? Yeah, probably going to make him scared and make him want to rave. There's a lot of things that the Ana and Brig can do together that can scare off a Reaper that might just TP into their face. Not even including the fact that Mac might even just come and peel and DM you for that Reaper. And then it's a 3 versus 1. And that Reaper's not taking that fight. So realistically, you're better off staying on... You can stay on a Genji, you can run a Doomfist, it is a dive comp. The only thing I ask is that you know your engage timings, and that you engage with your tanks. Yeah, so just want to kind of see high ground high ground setups coming through more often for your supports. Oh shit! What the fuck? Yeah, just want to see you guys, because so on dive you basically every fight want to start the fight by setting up your supports. If that means taking a specific rotation so that your supports can get to a specific spot safely, take it. Take the scenic route to get your supports to the nice spot. Get your supports up here. That's a big ante. Well, I mean, you're not going to get all 3 of them, but you're going to get 2 of them. That's a good ante. Also, Claire, hold your sleep. Now they've got Reaper, hold your sleep. Before you're free to chuck it out. But anti, you're very welcome to go and have a look for an anti-nade, or hold it and look for a defensive nade when Mini jumps in. But please hold your sleep. Don't use it unless you have to. Another thing of don't use cooldowns just because they're off cooldown, because a lot of Arnas are very good at just chucking their sleep away and chucking it at like the enemy team for no reason. You should all be aware that they've got a Reaper at this point. Oh, I mean, I know you're aware they've got a Reaper at this point because he's just killed your Tracer. But yeah, because you're playing low ground as well, because of the comp they're on, this is still going to be a hard fight for you to take. You're making the fights harder than they need to be. Like, look at this. This is a hard angle to aim at, Claire. Shooting up is never easy. Shooting directly down or directly up is always hard. Set yourself on a level playing field. Even if you're playing on these stairs, this room is where you want to be. This is where you want to control as a support duo. You want to be playing around here. It is better this fight though, Jasper. You're actually looking at Claire. You're actually kind of trying to bodyguard her a little bit. Another reason why you should be playing around this room, you've got Abra now, who can play around here and defend you even more with flash and shots on their own. It also just gives way better line of sight for Mini to be able to dive, because realistically Mini jumped there and got nothing. Abra is over here and he's probably going to die. Unflux has got a headshot. He's dead. If you had control of this room, this never happens, because you start this fight 2 minutes before it's 2 minutes. You start this fight 10 seconds, maybe. If I go back 10 seconds, and then just play it a second, this fight's already taken place. If you're set up in this room, the next fight has already taken place. You're either engaging onto this room, or you're engaging onto their supports that are over here. You've already started. You're playing the game, they're not. You're playing offensive, you're playing actively, and they're playing reactively. Playing actively in Overwatch will usually win playing actively in Dive will win you fights. Playing reactively in Dive will lose you fights. Dive wants to be the ones that engage and use cooldowns first to get kills and make and clean up fights quickly, yeah? Whereas stuff like Poke and Brawl Poke wants to stall out fights and take long fights and keep using cooldowns and continuously use repeating cooldowns and chipping you down. And Brawl likes to go in together and use cooldowns to reactively fight. You want to use active and reactive cooldowns in Brawl. I'm not watching Minis Primal. The Reaper drops. I like the use of the DM there, Mac, on the Reaper, but he fades out and then you start shooting at the tanks. Remember, you're on D.Va, you need to be very conscious of where their DPS are. This Cree didn't get here for free. This Cassidy, sorry, didn't get here for free. He's managed to walk across this bridge at some point. And so you should have been aware of this happenings on the high ground. So again, coming back, just look around. It's so easy just to know what's happening when you look around. You'll be amazed when you start doing it. Looking around, you'll be amazed how much easier it is to play the game because you just know what's happening. Abra's dead. You've lost both your DPS. They're using High Noon. Give up. Die or get out. You've lost both DPS at this point. You can't take a fight. You've got no high ground control. You lose this fight. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm just going to skip it. You know, I didn't even have to watch the fight to know the turnout. So you reset. You died. You reset. You lost the fight. It happens. What I want to see going into this next fight is you setting up your team. Abra, you fucked up there. But you need to set up your team. Whether it's walking this high ground, which against a Zenyatta and a Cassidy and against a Poke comp, this is not a good route to take. If they were running a dive, this is the way you want to go. Because they're on Poke, go the low ground, go over these boxes or round these boxes, and then you want to go set up your kind of supports. I mean, because where they're playing, it's a hard place. It's a really, really hard choke, to be fair. I would probably set Claire up over this mini pack. Health packs are really good to set up on, because then you can rotate round here. But this is a hard place to set up, it's a problem. This stairwell's also Claire and Jasper. Claire and Jasper. Stairwells are your best friend. Stairs are the best. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. That's not a very good way to go. If you're going up against dive, this is the way you want to go. You want to go up high ground and rotate this way, and take control of that room, that mega room. Because they're running Poke, you need to play this fight differently. You need to think. I don't know if you've thought about it and done it properly. I don't think you have, but you are playing it differently. I need to think about this. Yeah, I'd say set Claire and Jasper up bottom left. But the problem with like coming in now, setting up your supports, is there's nowhere for your supports to play that's safe. Like playing here, it's so easy for them to get pulled or just get poked at. And they're perfectly line of sight. Playing over here, it's also very easily line of sight. It's easier to rotate onto the mini, but once you're here, there's not many places you can really rotate to. that are like long sight lines where you're less likely to get poked. One thing I could recommend is maybe you two come and rotate into this stairwell and come up here, and Jasper and Claire play this high ground, because if Mini dives in, it's double shield, he's not going to be able to find anything landing here. He won't land here. I want to see Mini jump onto here, because where are they going to go? Either into there or into there. When he stood here, they're not going to stand on this bridge. He gets free poke. And stood here, where can he be seen from? There. That doorway. So getting to that doorway, I wouldn't go that way, because you're going to get poked. Getting through that little room back there, you're going to get poked at. Go up this stairwell down here and come up high ground and play here. Play in this doorway. Because Mini's most likely, I want to see Mini and Mac jump up and play on this high ground. And then you force them to turn their back as well. And that's where the power of Unflux and Abra, if he's on a dive hero, comes in. Because Unflux can go up these stairs and shoot them from behind as you guys drop down. I don't want to... It's an engagement thing. It's a pinch engagement. You have to pinch engagement at this point. But Unflux can come on, stand on these stairs, and he can basically not get poked by anyone. If he's gonna get poked, he can stand here. He can push cart. He can fucking pressure cart while they stand up there like Nellies. Tracer is really good at pressuring cart in dive. Actually, she's way better at it than Diva, and Diva's usually the best character for pressuring cart. So Tracer can basically stand here and push cart for free. Once they turn around and look at her, Mini's already set up high ground. Abra should be on some form of other dive character, Echo, Genji, you name it, but he's not. He's on Cassidy. So we'll run it with Cassidy. With Cassidy, yeah, you're basically lost in the woods. You've got nowhere to stand. You've got no real like you've just proven it here where you've died. You've got nowhere you can actually stand where you're going to be able to take you're going to be able to actually find value. Yeah, and I'm also going to come and look at ults as well. You've got Pulse Bomb, you've got Nano, you've not really got anything else. Meanwhile, they've got Flux, Window, Bongo, and Transcendence. If I was you, or if I was skillful, I'm not, but if I thought I had skill, finding a Pulse Bomb onto the Zenyatta to get Transcendence out early into a fight is really, really powerful. Because he either dies or wastes Transcendence. And then Mini jumps in with Nano. We'll see how this fight plays out. I'm just going to watch you. Jasper again, just reminding you, play with Claire, just bodyguard her, because you've all walked out this right door. This is fine. I actually, like I've already said, Claire is walking out the correct door, playing this stairwell, really, really good. Really good. Where did Pulse Bomb go? I'm assuming you tried sticking it to the Zen, knowing he had Transcendence. Does good pressure. Okay, I think it was aimed at going on the Zenyatta, but you didn't quite land it. Abra has been flanked. You've been flanked and Abra's gone. But this is the problem with running the Cassidy here. You've got no place in this composition. You've got no place on your team right now. Your team is just like left in the mud. The only thing that you could offer to your team right now is playing with your Ana and bodyguarding her, but there's just not really any point. Because she's got the Brigitte and she's got her own cooldowns and she's got a mini pack. You are playing in the perfect position, by the way, and you're diving the perfect position as well. That's a good dive. That's a really good dive, and Mini's going to walk in there with Nano and probably take a few hits from that Zen, but it's still a good dive. And yeah, you've forced out Transcendence. Abra has fallen, but I'm not even going to go into it again. Unflux avenges Abra, that's good. The problem now is the fact that Cassidy was on the back line, but he could have lived there for a little bit. If Unflux was still... If Unflux didn't, like... If Abra wasn't killed and Unflux didn't go on the back line to kill this Cassidy, he could easily be here, killing that Bongo, and shooting into their back. And making this a lot more easier, making it a much more pinchable fight. It's just a nanoed monkey and a diva poking at the moment. You're gonna really struggle to win a fight without any DPS.
This is going to hurt.
Yeah. So, also I wanted to say, you did a really good job here of defending Claire, and you missed the shield bash, but you landed the sleep and you landed the boop. What I would say is, if he's asleep and you know he's not used Wraith, don't use nade on him. Just shoot him, because he'll use Wraith, and if he comes out of Wraith and still tries to engage on you, you've then got anti-nade to one, heal yourself up, and to hurt him. But another problem with this as well is you've turned your attention to him when your tanks are... You've kind of just ditched your tanks, and also ditched your great positioning. Yeah, there you go. That's the reason why we don't ditch our tanks. You've ditched your tanks in your good position. You've not actually looked at Mini and Mac to see if they've got full health, and Mac's lost his mech. Yeah, and now their Sigma's just getting really cocky in your backline because you've basically won this fight. It's a hard fight to win. The second point is always hard. What would make it easier is if you didn't have a Cassidy. It doesn't matter if the Sig's behind. You've lost the fight already. You've lost mech and you've got no Abra. Unflux is basically not in the fight. The fight was already lost. When that Sig dropped, even if you turned and focus fired him, you're dead to the rest of his team. It was just... He was just trying to make a cool play and make himself look cool, but he was... yeah, we'll just see what runs out. See, now their Cassidy's playing here. This is a really good diveable spot. Go through the other door and dive this Cassidy. Go through this right hand door, this one here. Walk out here. Even if you're going through the bottom and then walk high ground and play here, you can jump onto that Cassidy and chase him off the high ground. And like, so it comes back to pressure, learning to pressure. Pressuring isn't always getting the kill, it's just forcing them to not be somewhere you don't want them to be. You don't want this Cassidy here. By jumping here with Mac and Mini alone can pressure this and force this Cassidy out. Or kill him. If he doesn't leave the high ground, he'll die. If he stays on the high ground, he dies. If he leaves the high ground, you still win because you've got this whole high ground position. It's kind of like first point. You control spaceship, you win. If you can control this area here, you've got so much freedom to drop down over here, to drop down. Actually, that's another thing. You can drop down and jump back up. You don't have to use a cooldown to engage onto them. You can stand here for 6 seconds, wait for your leap cooldown, drop into their backline, tickle them, and then jump back up onto the high ground. I mean, not that way, but like, you can drop probably here, tickle them a bit, and then jump back up. And it's just a nice kind of juggle thing. Monkey is really, really important to always be pressuring the backline. And so you pressure him out of this position, take this position off of him. Is the Cassidy called out? The Cassidy should be called out, let's be honest. He's free shooting from you, at you from this position. So yeah, again, it's the same as last fight, and I'll say it again because the more I say it, the more you'll hear it, and the more you hear it, the more likely you are to learn it. set up either down here or up here. I'd say up here is better. Plainly because that Zen is going to be gunning for you, but Minnie and Mac playing here, it's so much easier to aim at them from here. And if they do decide to take Spaceship, which they should, take the top of Spaceship, to pressure this Cassidy out, it's still really easy to aim at them from here. The only thing to be conscious of when you stood here is that Zenyatta, because he has shown that he's a good player. And like I said at the start of the last VOD review, or the defense, sorry, respect good players. When you know a player's good, give them the respect. No. Do you just jump onto their tank line? Okay, so Unflux tries to solo dive the Cassidy. That's not a good play, Unflux. Your team, you're just not playing dive right as a team. Well, Unflux knew the Cassidy was there. The Cassidy was clear. Everybody, or not everybody, but somebody on the team knew that the Cassidy was there. It should have been called, and that should have been the target. But it doesn't matter about the fights when you're not taking the rotations before the fights correctly. So at the moment, you have walked out of all 4 doors and stood here. Max pushing cart, that's fine. He's just going to get pressured out and have to come back. But so far, you have done nothing and wasted cooldowns. Nothing but wasted cooldowns so far. So just think about your rotation. Think about where you want to be, where you want to take the fight. Because the advantage of a point like this is you get to choose where the fight happens. Or not strictly where the fight happens, but you get to choose where you engage from. You also get to choose when you engage, which is another mistake you're making, because Unflux is engaged early when you guys are all low health because you've stood and taken poke from these guys for no reason. Like Saren and Jasper, yeah, walk through low ground. Jasper, you go with Saren just so that you can protect her, but people with mobility can jump onto this high ground and just walk out of this door. You're not taking poke from that high ground from here. That's the advantage of Abra being here. You're not taking poke from that high ground from being here. That's why he's survived this time. The last 2 times he's gone over that bridge and died. This time he's learnt. He's learnt from his last mistakes. He's gone out a different door. Which is nice. It's nice to see you learning on the spot, learning while the map's going. And I actually have no idea how long I've been going for. I've been going for over an hour on just the attack. They've used Death Blossom. I've heard the denied voice line, so I'm assuming it's Mac actually finding the eat, which I really hope it is. Okay, he dropped into your defense matrix. You didn't expect that though. Nice DM. There's the bomb, there's the rally. Primal also came out. Bomb found 2. Don't use any more ults. No high noon, no nano, no pulse bomb, please. There you go. Nice. There you go. Well played. Good fight. And actually, Mac did a really good job that fight. That was a really, really nice DM to kill that Cassidy. I don't think you realised that you quite did it, but you ate the healing orb from the Baptiste, and so he couldn't get healed. When you actually went here, used those micros, and then you ate the healing orb, and he got killed by the Primal. He couldn't get healed. Bomb comes out, you find kills. Rally probably could have been held even, but the fact you commit it wins you the point, and you've got 17 seconds. Now, coming on to third point's a lot harder. Third point's a lot harder when it comes to being able to play. What I'd love to see is you hunting down these stagger kills, which is exactly what you do on killing that Roadhog. Good awareness on killing that, on noticing the Cassidy anyway. Just DMing the whole time. Nice. Yeah, I like the DM. really well played on the DM, actually. You expected the flash, and you wanted to eat the flash and protect your teammate, and stop him from getting it off, so, yeah, good. One thing I do need to say, though, they have switched up comp, and this is a hard comp for you to now run into. Take the next fight, drive fight, and switch, is what I'd say. You don't want to be running a monkey into this. You can run the Orisa, you can run a Reinhardt, but you can even run your own Sig Hog. Just don't run a monkey into this. It's going to be so hard for you guys to find value unless you can find massive antis every single fight. Just because Hog is so punishing at this level. What is this, Mac? What is this? Why are you tickling a hog while your monkey jumps in? Where's the DM? You're lucky he has nano and unlimited heals, because he should be very dead. Mini is dead. So when Mini, especially when he got trapped, you should have flown straight to him to DM him. What's this? I mean, you can run the monkey, it's just a much harder comp to run the monkey into than the Orisa comp. Good awareness on realising that Hog's there. Try and hold a bit of DM for when he throws a hook out, and try not to get hooked. The advantage of also them not running double shield now is that you get a free bomb. But do not bomb, because you're not ready to fight. You've not set up for this fight. You've got 30 seconds. One thing I do want to like hammer in, because I know it's a small thing. Don't feel pressured by the music. If in some cases, turn the music off, because the music turns on at 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a hell of a lot of time. You can have 2 fights in 30 seconds. Overwatch League has 2 fights in 30 seconds. That's a high standard. I'm not expecting you guys to have 2 fights in 30 seconds. I'm expecting you guys to have probably 2 fights a minute and 30 seconds. Or every minute. You should have 2 fights at least every minute. But don't feel pressured to use this bomb early, which I can see that you have. There's no reason to use it early. I mean, he does use his shield. You can just go for it for the engage. But yeah, still, I don't think. Yeah, that's the problem of bombing early. You weren't prepared. You didn't think, and their Cassidy had high noon and was set up behind. It's a small awareness thing. It's really small. I think a lot of people would have made the mistake, and I feel really bad that they actually pulled that off. But if you held your bomb just for a split second, if you just waited for a second and just let it happen, you didn't need mech back, just healed up, just kind of played round here. As soon as that high noon comes off, you've got mech and you can fly up. Meanwhile, he uses high noon. 3 of you die? 3 of you die. Unfortunate you don't hit the sleep, but I don't think the sleep would have made much of a difference. 5 seconds left. It's not looking very good. Come back on ball with the nano, but they got whole hog. It's just going to be really hard. Big anti could have turned the fight around, but they still had whole hog. And it's just so hard for you to fight this now. You rushed into the next fight when you had, and actually it does show as well the fact that you took this fight at 15 seconds, I believe it was, when you could have just waited. It's earlier than that. You've taken this is basically when the fight's starting. 18 seconds left. What I would have recommended, you don't have to start walking towards car until probably 15 seconds on the timer. Reset, stand here, all group up, do your plan, do your ult tracking. Do it as a team. Do it at the end of the last fight, before they even get a chance. You've killed the hog. Reset. because you've put yourself at a disadvantage in this very last fight. It's literally just because you didn't reset properly. You didn't, or not even reset. You didn't even think between the fights. You clearly haven't spoken about ults. You haven't thought about what they've got. You probably still lose this fight if you do, but it's a much more. It's an easier fight to win if you know what ults they might have. If you think to yourself, if you say to each other, okay, they've got window, they've got oh, oops, I didn't mean to pin that. Unpin. Whoops. Okay. I know this has been a long one and I am finishing it right now. But yeah, you could have waited, reset, and sat, and just, yeah. Gone, oh wait, they've got high noon. Just checked that high ground before he could get that off. Yeah, they've got window, they've got tire, they've got whole hog, and high noon. You probably lose this fight anyway, just off of ult difference. But still. That is who should be ult tracking. Realistically, it's the Brigitte in this comp. It's the supports should be ult tracking. Claire and Jasper should be ult tracking, and it's so easy just to ult track on support because you do have much less kind of. You don't have to cooldown track. Is the thing. You don't have to cooldown track as intensively as other players. And so it's so much easier in fights just to ult track instead and know who's got ult and know who's doesn't. You only learn ult tracking by doing it, but at the same time, everybody should be ult tracking. I hate the kind of standard of oh yeah, main tanks should never have to ult track, because then main tanks just lose their awareness. Ult tracking is part of awareness. By knowing what ultimates they have, you can be much more aware of your surrounding, much more aware of what they're looking to do. It's, yeah, so ult tracking is all about awareness. Knowing what the ults the other team have is going to be completely influential on each fight. And yeah, ult tracking, I think, doesn't fall on one specific person, but I think it's easier for supports to do it. I think it's easier for supports to pick it up and then to be able to frequently do it. It's the thing of, though, everybody should be thinking about it. It shouldn't be something that should only be on somebody's mind. It should be on everybody's mind. If you're not confident in ult tracking yourself, at the end of each fight, go ults. Ults question mark. What ults do they have? What do we use? What do we have? What do they have? Important. That's the most important calls in a downtime of a fight, and it will make a fight like this winnable. You could have won this map with ult tracking. It has been a very, very long time. Thank you for everybody who stuck around. I will end it because I feel very, very sorry for all of you sticking around and listening to me complain for hours and hours on end about Gibraltar. But this is a really good map. I want to see you guys play it again in another scrim. Possibly if you could like negotiate to get Escort Gibraltar to be played second map instead of Kings or something. Instead of a hybrid, play Escort second or third even, rather than 2CP. Try and avoid playing 2CP because I fucking hate 2CP. But yeah, the big takeouts. There we go. I always do this. Big takeouts are: look around, look at your team. Same as always. I will keep saying it until you do it. Look at your teammates and look at where they are. Another thing, big thing, alt track. Just talk to each other between fights. Don't be afraid to reset. Don't let that overtime timer or that 30-second music start playing and go shit. Don't let that get to you. Go, okay, we've got 30 seconds. We've got plenty of time. But what have they got? Okay, they've got Whole Hog, High Noon, Tire, they've got Window. When you get to that point, when you know they've got High Noon, go, shit, where's the Cassidy? And look for him. You'll probably find him hiding up in the rafters. So yeah, the big takeouts are fair. Is basically just the two of look at your teammates and alt track. And alt tracking takes time. If you're still like not sure, I can try and find a video on alt tracking. And if I can't find a video on alt tracking, I might make a video on alt tracking. Basically would just be a video of me playing quick play or competitive where I'm just going to be alt tracking for the whole thing and just talking to you. Okay, well, again, the Cassidy, yeah, don't play it in a dive comp because you lost your team fights because of it. You had nowhere, you couldn't do anything for 3 or 4 fights in a row. You just couldn't do anything for your team, and it's why second point was so hard, and probably also why you lost the map. I hate to say it, but it's also probably why you ended it, because if you went a dive DPS on that second point, you could have played that second point. You probably would have won that fight, that second point, much quicker. And then you could have got onto third point with more time and been able to take another fight after this one, which you probably win. I don't know what your hero pool is, so you'll have to send it to me in like team chat. If you send it to me in team chat and say, actually, you're free. You're free next. I'm gonna do a VOD review. I'll do a VOD review with you. Are you PS4 or Xbox, Abra? Because I might. Oh, I can't do a Discord call because I've watched your Xbox. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll figure something out. I'll figure out how we're doing it, but I'll go and do a VOD review with you now. I'll put food in, and then I'll come up and do a VOD review with you if you're still down. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed. I'm sorry for keeping you around for so long, and yeah, just keep it in mind. I didn't expect you guys to stay around for this long. It's been, what, 3 hours we've been doing this VOD review for just this one, and so yeah, I don't expect you to watch it all, but I will be looking out for it for those tips for the next the next VOD review, or even just the next scrim that we do, Lex League game, and yeah, looking more at